Hello, good morning, happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining me for another Saints and Angels Oracle deck reading for our week to come. It is November 1st, so a happy new month. We're going to have not only just the 1 week angel card, but also pull a card for our new theme for the month here. I really could go on forever talking about the things at hand. Sorry, straightening my thing. My camera, computer. But where we have 2 cards to read already this morning, I hate to blab on too long, but I just want to touch quickly on the approaching finality of Pluto sort of exiting and making this grand entrance into Aquarius and saying goodbye to Capricorn. Along with the return of Pluto that we had for the United States, and also just the cyclic timeline truths that we see with the rise and falling of empire, cultures, PowerPoints, and with the Western kind of empire that we now see is coming also to its sort of grand finales. There's just so much, the macro scale, the astral, the cosmos reflects down into the collective of humanity, and the mainstream sort of large happenings that are happening, like things with the country, things with elections, things everywhere all over the world, and not just say America's the only thing, because all of our beautiful countries are under great attack, are under great rebirth or dissolution, evaporation, boiling points. All of these sort of really alchemic points of transmutation are kicking off and have been, since 2012 was really the sort of marker of the beginning, and even before that we had some a 10-year or so gradient that astrologically we were getting in different frequencies and different impressions and different influences from the different larger body planets. Of course, those things move a lot differently, and they're so much larger than us that when their influence tunnels down, it affects each level differently. And the collective, like I've already kind of talked about, November is going to be a super interesting month. October has already been really fiery, and but to bring it down into the sort of more individualistic level, and to talk about myself and as individuals, the flavors that we've felt come through October with that 6 of Cups, the perseverance of social experiences, of social exchanges, being tested because, it was reversed. So we've seen a lot of upsets, a lot of little sort of disruptions, catalytic events that would happen to sort of shake up the way that social exchanges take place, can or might. A lot of them, for me, turned out to be silver lining things, where it was even better than the way it was before. Or it gave me more of inner pieces of working to dive deeper into, to pull out clearer gradients of worth and value. Like my channel getting locked out of it, and now having to do a backup channel. That has really opened up a different way for me to look at paths to persevere through. So I'm really excited to see what November here has in store for us. In general, especially down at the individual levels, what we'll start to see, and what we've been seeing already, these sort of threshold moments, boundary points where it's enough is enough, really starting to be able to leave things behind that no longer serve highest good, that aren't true to us, to really honoring that you want to stand in your truth, saying, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to do what's good, what's best for me, what feels good for myself and my family, or whoever is the case, right? So, I was hoping I brought my water with me, and I didn't. That's all right. Let's get ready to become a good audience and get settled here. I'm going to lead us just through a quick little, my hair is like uncomfortable. I braided it incorrectly, I guess. Or maybe it's supposed to be on this side. It's pulling in the back. Not that anybody cares, right? Except me. It's just a bit distracting. So if you've got distracting things going on, get yourself settled as I'm attempting to get myself kind of comfortable. And also bear with, I've got a bit of noise in the background going on, but what can I do? My window faces the parking lot. And I've got Palo Santo going, so I have it cracked just a little bit to keep the room, the airflow going. But with that said, we can try our best to get situated and close our eyes for a minute. You can certainly watch the video or do whatever you're doing. This isn't going to be hypnosis. It's just a minute to get grounded and centered and to, like I said, work on listening for a minute, practicing that skill so that we can be a good audience when I pull the cards and really absorb and receive in the best way. So closing the eyes, taking a moment to connect with the breath. The first ever-present tool, technique, the first machine in the gym that we can exercise ourselves with. So take a moment to consciously breathe into all sides of yourself. Feel that breath really traveling vertically down and spreading horizontally wide as it goes. Cool breath traveling down on the inhale, spilling down the back of the throat, filling you, widening as it flows like a waterfall, cold, thick and wide, spilling in the insides, filling the bottom of the abdomen, diaphragm, the bottom of the lungs. Maybe retain that inhale for a minute and feel the space. Let the visualization fill you up as you breathe it in. Be that waterfall. Let your breath really create the sounds of that water rushing. Let the exhale be like the cloud and steam, the water rising up out of that pool, that stream. The waterfall meets. Pulling the water as air, the air as water. Letting those molecules, energy, information, and light that ride in with the breath be like fluid, be received as water within the universe of you. Spilling in, filling you up, filling that pool, feeling them at the base of you, just as Mother Earth is holding you up, just as you are sitting as you are. There are those sturdy points of foundation within you, within this visualization, within the depths of your being. Feel how the breath moves, but sits upon steady ground, a steady scene, held by the external. Take a moment to notice the exhale again. The coolness of that inhale feeding the warmth, the gaseous rising of the exhale. Feel how it just rises and dissipates out of you like fog or clouds or steam around, just rolling out of this pond, the pool or stream the waterfall meets. It flows off lightly as needed. Maybe notice, retain that exhale for a moment. As you climb in the mind's eye again to the top of that waterfall with the inhale, feel it riding in, cooling the nasal passages, riding down the throat, clear, smooth, and fresh. Busy and loud, glorious and proud, smooth and clear and free. It meets that pool and the exhale rises up and out. Feel it passing out of you, on into the scene, into the beautiful organic air. A part, something different than you, but yet the same. Take a moment again to feel the body as it is. Feel your fingers and toes. Feel your place in space and time. Know that this breath technique and these visualizations can be tapped into any time and place. So helpful to allow us to center and calm, to ground and give thanks to where we are now, to the true moments, to the aliveness. So again, feel the aliveness of your breath. Maybe feel sensations of your fingers and toes, the smells and sounds around your room where you're at today, whether it's outside or inside. Take them in and be grateful for them. As I am grateful for your audience and my own. And I'll ring my bell here as we prepare to open our eyes. you're centered and prepared, I'll take out my tarot and we'll have our beautiful message for this month to come. We thank you, ancestors and guides, ascended masters, saints and angels, our higher selves, our guardian angels, Mother Earth, the fairies, elementals, all those in spirit and of higher density and frequencies, of those of lower densities and frequencies as well, with benevolence, truth, and unconditional love in your hearts and beings. We thank you for your audience, for your eternal beings, for your co-creation here in this beautiful, mysterious, magical life. We ask if you could, through these beautiful cards of divination, offer words of wisdom, guidance, support, or advice for this month of November here in 2024. For the collective, yes, as well as the individual points that we can anchor into or work on, use as navigation points, points of comfort throughout our journey in these weeks to come here through November, these great epic times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to shuffle my cards up a bit. Bring in my old ways of shuffling a little, drop it down. It's not as obvious on the screen. Feel, that it's necessary to start integrating old and new again and bringing in some of my old, this turned right over. Oh, two, wow, okay, and I just dropped the deck, so I'm going to leave it there. My hands are a little sweaty, and I had two cards upside down. As I was shuffling, they came upside down, and they came as this. Right side up at, well, actually, I think Judgment was upside down and the Eight of Swords was reversed in the deck as they came. But then when I went to pick them up, they've come opposite. But let's just talk about these two cards together in themselves here and what's to come. I'm trying to avoid the glare by not raising it too high. The Nine of Swords, oh my gosh, I said 8. It's the Nine of Swords. And so to think, and to take an image of this, this is not always the image that immediately, with our alignment of negativity, forced and focused with the matrix overlay late in these last decades and generations, that we really see this, and it's catastrophic. It's detrimental, very negative, very harmful and hurtful, and abusive. All of these sort of traumatic words come with this. Especially this card. Swords in general are very cutthroat cards in the tarot world, and then sometimes, you know, in pop tarot, like I like to call it, everything gets hyper inflated, just like the mainstream, and they gravitate towards these really cutthroat things, and they need to have these really hits of highs and lows, and to get the jarring things out of it. And while I accept that those things do happen and there are an ups and downs, I personally work through spiritual divination, which looks for this more holistic, homeopathic, homeostasis of middle grounding that shows us and lets us know that even within oppositional extremes is the great gradient of balance and working. It's beautiful chances at learning mastery of learning technique, of learning personal adaptation and tailor fitting, gradient of exploration of discovery of manyness, which is what we're here for, which is the purpose of our beautiful creator consciousness. And so sometimes this scene can seem immediately very negative. But for me, I do this a lot. And I find great healing. And there has been, our hands are healers, right? And to put the palms over the eyes, over the face, is a great technique and tool of healing, of self-healing. And it provides a time of inner reflection. It helps to focus the inner mind, the third eye, and whether you see that as a single center or you see that as a beautiful triad of working between the three centers in the glands in the mind there, in the brain. I like to incorporate all of those. But to bring that in, and to honor in prayer together the holiness of that, right, in yourself, to think things through, to honor the time it takes to cut out the external world, right, with the swords here, and to really take it inwards and to think only of the inner world for a moment, and to think of the completions, the final keystone, linchpin moments, the last things that set it all. When the 9 is not the final scene of the play, it's not the acting out and the hero's return. It's the actors at the end coming together and knowing the play has been played and that they played the play and the audience has watched, and the whole show, everything that came together, the scenery, the background, all of the practice, all of the points, the play itself, the written version, all of that comes in with the 9 and comes in at the end of the grand finale of I forget the word that they use with encore and all of that, when they're out the end and everybody's there clapping because the show's over. You were there, you came for the show is over and it's done. Everyone between the actors and the audience knows the whole thing is done, right? And this is the point of 9. Sometimes it's hard to tell the threshold and the gradient when we get into these upper levels and layers because, of course, each 9 stage in itself has the opportunity then again to create a 0 to 9, 1 to 9 growing gradient. There's all 1 and 8 sitting ready to happen inside 9. And 9 is linked with 0 because the ending is the beginning, right? So all things do contain each other, but it's the great perspective, proximity, and perception of the observer that creates what to be watched and how and when, for how long, and all of that. And so here at this epic time, and in November, we are going to be asked, most certainly, to remember the great role of the observer and to step back out and remember what you're looking at and from where and why. And take time to think for yourself. Take time to go inwards and remember and to close take those bows with your inner self in all of these projects you've been working on. Take time to really honor them as they are, and to see them as they are. Another thing with the 9 of Swords that comes is this aspect of, it has to do with ideologies, with beliefs, with things we've been made to believe, or things we've taught ourselves to believe, or chosen to believe. And that can be positive and negative. And we can choose to believe truth. We choose to believe lies. So don't think when we say choose to believe something that it's make-believe, not real, and we're choosing lies and sugarcoating or making things up in this sort of unreal, diluted, delusionary way. It's not. You can choose to believe truth just as easily and just as rightly as you choose to believe distorted lies. Because in the end, all things that happen in this great dream, part of life that we are in, a part of, the great waking dream, it is and contains all of that at once. So, and it all, comes from the thought processing first. It's all a distortion. That's really what I meant to say. I kind of lost my train of imagery there. and thought, but it's the initial original true thought, the great Logos and One, so far away and direct and true. It comes through every distortion. All things are distorted here. And if we can accept that, distortions happen for good reasons and bad reasons, and that distortions can align with truth, that's great new working that will be, coming into an understanding with the dawning of the age of Aquarius, right? I won't get too wrapped up in that. This video is getting kind of long, and I haven't even talked about Judgment yet. The second card that came out, Judgment. And these cards really work together, too, because we are this is an internal card of what are you casting judgments upon yourself for? We are the only one who do judge ourselves, and only God judges us, which is so important to remember, that you don't have the light 360-degree full spectrum knowing and light and love of God to cast judgment against anything within the picture here. We cast out our own judgment through light because we're light beings, but the point and process of judging a thing for discernment, for ownership of the mind, this is an internal process. This is judgment that happens in inner core workings, inside the inner vortex of the toroidal. The casting out of light that comes with external toroidal has nothing to do with that. It's casted by the inner light out, and it reflects divine purpose. But we're not casting judgment out. We cannot do that. It's not the way of a role of influence happens. We are bearing light to see clearly and to operate in our world. But that portion of judgment, the radiance and capabilities of cymatic reverence and influence, that's an inner core working. That happens inside of us. And that doesn't have to do with external other at all. And in fact, it can never impact external other in that internal way. That, that's a God direct working of spirit and center channel that each one of us has in our own unique way that does their own unique work with God partnership, with source connection. It's, source has immediate connection to all. We don't have that in between. We have a different version of it, which is an externalized reflection and echo and an inner communication system that is much different. And so that's just a great reminder for us to, when we do feel, and especially at these times where there's hiccups, where there's great changes, where we have threshold moments of endings and new beginnings, we can feel super called and to be infringing and to force judgment on others, to cast out things that aren't meant to be, that aren't helpful, that are not looking for harmonious solutions, which is honestly where we should always be coming from. And if you're doing good divine work for yourself and inner work, and you're really taking the time to go over your own judgments and to really seek the things that are right for you in these inner Nine of Swords ideals that we create for ourselves, these are the truths we cast out. We make up our world based on the truths within us that we've called true, the things that we will stand for, that signify the Nine of Swords, those things that are so firm that you would, dig them into the ground and stand for them, that they are cut and dry, end all be all, ethical stakes in the ground sort of things. And yeah, like I've said, having these really firm boundaries can sometimes be cause really ending moments, because it calls you to stand for what you believe is right. And this is the one thing that I know this video is going a little long and I'm going to really talk about, but organic rightness of righteous judgment within ourselves, of knowing our truths, standing for what you believe is right and good for all, in a way that is in service of all, for the highest good of all, is the point I'm trying to come from, and is the point that we should all be coming from. And when we stand in these truths, those boundaries that we see, that we say that and no more, that we say enough is enough, that we say no to, that in itself is a powerful, sovereign working of God's force. it is never negative. It is never negatively aligned. It is never of an inverted working of self-service when we set those boundaries and stand for those. They can seem end-all be-all, and they can seem to others when they push on those boundaries like we're making offensive moves, like we are looking to hurt them or abuse them in some kind of way, or teach them that they shouldn't treat us that way, or that they should have some kind of boundary like ours. And in fact, that's really not the teaching at all. The teaching is where you set your boundaries is for your reasons. You honor them as your own tests for you and your promises to God and Source, or whoever and whatever you feel is your divine right connection to righteousness and rightness, to true positive alignment, right? And so by standing for those and setting those, it's, it causes this two-part, seemingly can be really seen as hurtful or make others upset and mad with you. But when you do it from a place of unconditional love, where you just say, well, no, I just say, I'm not doing that. That's not right for me. You're free to do what you do. I love and honor you as to what you want to choose for what's right for you. But you should also know and feel in your heart that you don't want to be pushed into my sense, right? You don't like this clearly of what I am putting off for my sense, and you don't want that pushed on you. So you should recognize and honor that right now by giving me my space, by doing that work fully, full circle right now, and proving you are in it 100%, by accepting that and letting me do me. I'm not, and this is when we really have to be honest with ourselves and our judgment cards and in our inner work, and know our inner self, say, I am not pushing that on you. I'm not entangled with you, and I don't care about your service. I am freely offering out what I have within me, and I am saying no to no more and no more than this. This is my support center. This is my sense of security and privacy and a right to my own being. I've been promised a space by God, as I've been promised this body vessel that none can enter, just as I've been promised this point of view that no other can sit within or enter. Those are the key of truth, that the promise is at hand, that you've been given it. And by honoring that as the truth, that sets the first stone to the foundation. And then, bam, you set your four corners. And these are the insurpassable pieces of me that I will not change or alter. And I love them, and I want to care for them, and I find divine comfort, support, and a joy of life within these four corners of me. And I have a calling and a service within these four corners, actually. I wake up with a thankfulness of being alive and a call to do, a call to speak, a call to act. And I'm grateful for that. And when we come from these places and we then cast our light out, and it's not judgment, but I was saying like judgment, we cast our judgment out, but it's true honoring of light. We light up the world around us with that. And we can do our work better. We can serve others better. Others can be seen better in our light. We can listen better. We can hear better. We can interact better. And know their own Nine of Swords, their own ideologies and beliefs sit on their wall separately from ours. Not pick them up as swords and have to cut each other with them and stab each other and force them on each other. But to know that they're there to honor the beauty, strength, and yes, maybe the potential of the great sword cutting that it has, But not to say that we have to get into it and go and pull the sword off the wall and stab each other with it all the time. But to know that they're there, that they're tools, and to honor them with the strength and power that they deserve, and to give others that great place of sovereign rightness to do that with their own. And then if we light up our worlds with regular positivity, that we just want to do what we're meant to do, right? We'll see more in alignment with others. And this is where the truth of the collective judgment everyone starts to live in this brighter sort of light. And that's when everything around the true dawning of the new, that we're going to see with the sun rising here in these months to come. I love how the sun is like coming up behind the sun, and the clouds here in the judgment card as well, like the new sun rising. so many metaphors we're living live. I'm not going to get into it anymore because I'm talking for way too long. But thank you so much for joining me for this first of the month card readings, where we have beautiful 9 of Swords to work with for the whole month of November. What a large message. I'm going to look at my deck, my book, and I'll come back with a voice note perhaps. I feel like this is a repeat, but it could have been in another reading, but I'll check with that. And then for this, in Judgment, oh my gosh, I haven't even done the angel card. I knew I'm missing something. I'm getting totally, this is it, yep, it's going to be a long one. So we'll be working through both of the themes, but maybe this week, especially, Judgment might be a prevalent message for this first week of November. As I feel like this is like the weekly card. Maybe keep in mind, the election is this week. I wasn't even thinking of that either. Oh my goodness. Okay. We need a Saints and Angels card for this week for sure. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being so patient with us, and I do apologize for almost nearly forgetting you, as I could never forget, for nothing is forgotten in the mind of God. Thank you for waiting for your divine time to speak, to be remembered and rekindled, for this divine, important message that could guide us and give us support, light us up, help us to remember the joy and positivity, the love and light that is at the core and center, like a golden nugget, unending flame for this beautiful and important, epic week to come here. We thank you, beautiful saints and angels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, now shuffle up my deck here. Oh my goodness. They're excited and sticky. And then I'm going to take it. Old school again. My old style of shuffling. 3 times. 3. I think I'll do a cut and an open too. Here. Okay. Practice makes perfect. With our guardian angel, another guardian angel card, so inner work. We've got the keys, we've got the power here at hand for this week to come. Internal work is important, introspection, quieting yourself, giving thanks and praise, praying to that inner glorious light, asking for harmonious solutions, asking to see the help in the most divine ways, to allow and to really be open to receiving, and to not worrying about, to closing our eyes to receiving anything. So we don't have assumptions about what is to come or what we are receiving. To having that great faith in the darkness and knowing that what comes to us is meant for us and is the best for our higher good, and that we will be led through this way, through the inner knowing, through the inner teacher, God source connection, and to know that this is a practice, and that all of these small bits are what is building up our perfection, bringing us towards perfection, eternally, never ending, right? Wow. So what a beautiful message for this week, to practice all things, to practice these points of inner judgment and reflection on our points and our ideologies, and on that which is our moral foundations and our points that we really stand for. So thank you so much for joining me for this extra long morning meditation. Yes, well, it was a meditation. And all life, as one of my dear friends told me, every moment in waking life is meditation. Right? We should be looking at it like that now. So thank you for joining me for this reading here this morning, and I hope I'll see you next Friday.